Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is this is the second episode of season 2. This is actually episode 26 for those of you that are keeping track. If you followed us on YouTube last week for the season premiere, of course, I said episode 23 about 23 times, and that was wrong. We were actually on episode 25, but this is season 2, and this is episode number 26. This is the second show of season 2. Thank you guys for joining us, and we've got to say right off the bat, of course, shouts out to one of our newest partners. You can now hear According to Kaz and Queen on the Black with No Chaser radio channel. So for those of you that have not downloaded the app, please make sure that you go and download the Black with No Chaser radio app. That's BWNC radio on all social media platforms. So you can hear us there every week. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Of course, you can see us. You can see the premiere of these episodes every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. And you can listen to us on all streaming services. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We are on Google Podcasts. We are also on Amazon Music as well. So if you would rather watch us and see our bright, shining faces, or if you would rather listen to us, you can listen to us on all of those different platforms. So shout out to the whole team over at Black with No Chaser. You can now hear your favorite couple on Black with No Chaser radio as well. So make sure you listen to us over there. And as always, if you're following us, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know how this goes. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, even if you're listening to us right now on Spotify, all you got to do is go to that channel right there. That's under my finger right there. Go to that channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. We'll have a premiere every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for you to check us out on YouTube. And you'll be able to hear what we're talking about, man. Whatever's been going on during the week. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys to sometimes make you laugh, to sometimes make you think, to be introspective. And we appreciate you all for continuing to stick with us and all the new people that are on board for season 2. We appreciate it. All right. And we are coming to you from an undisclosed location. But in this location for season 2, we're able to enjoy some adult beverages in here. So, who knows where the conversation is going to go from there. We're coming to you from Jackson, Mississippi. So, for those of you that have not seen or heard about what's going on right now in the state of Mississippi, some really critical times with the Mississippi Legislature right now, passing a number of bills that they're looking to possibly take over the city of Jackson. And if you are listening to us from someplace else, please make sure that you go on social media, check out what's happening in the Mississippi Legislature right now, particularly House Bill number 1020 and Senate Bill 2889. Legislators appear to have come into the session, this session, with the intent and the purpose of trying to neutralize Jackson's city government, and we're keeping our eyes on it. Of course, Jackson, Mississippi is an 85% black city. The white Republican majority legislature is not too fond of that. So they have been working overtime to try to create bills, to try to take power and usurp power from the leadership here in the city of Jackson. And this is something that has been going on for a very, very long time here. Mississippi is going to always Mississippi, but we are now getting a lot of national attention with what's going on here in the state of Mississippi. So, and thinking about, what's been happening here and thinking about, what Baba Chokwe, fought for, and even your father in a lot of instances in creating the Black and Proud School, seeing what's going on in the legislature right now and hearing people talk about it and, hearing the possibility of them trying to use laws and legislation to try to take over, kind of neutralize the leadership here in the city of Jackson. What were some of your first thoughts on that?
I think it's typical behavior. It's not anything new. I said a long time ago that it's going to take the community to gather to make the appropriate changes for our city and our state. We just do a horrible job at preparing people for elected positions, public officials. We do a horrible job as a community of making that work, and that's where the power is. So we need to do a little bit more education in the community to not just get people registered, but to kind of inform people about the importance of getting the right people in office, because this is really merely our fault because we put them there, basically.
Right.
What we're getting is, a result of that. So the real power is still within the community, still in the trenches. Yes, we need you to register to vote. There's a big kick always to get people registered. But there's very little done to make sure people understand what happens when these people get in office and the power that they hold, what they can do, what they can't do. I hear a lot of people talking about what the mayor is responsible for, and half the stuff that you're putting on the mayor, he can't do a damn thing about.
That's correct.
So that just goes to show that there's not a whole lot of information out there about how these offices actually run and the power that the people who hold the offices actually have. Then when they get in there and exercise their power, we're surprised and we hurt and we marching and we protesting, when actually we should have just never put that person in office. So
I definitely got to ask you about that, because I was having this conversation. There was a march in Jackson this past week. Dr. Umar Johnson actually came into town, because of what's happening, with the water situation and what's happening with the bill. And, I was talking to a lot of people, and I'm hearing this a lot more now. I was talking to a lot of people who, are in agreement with the fact that, we've got to stop with the marches. We've done a lot of marching, and we've continuously done the marching, and we've done the speaking, and even these legislators, even when these bills passed the first round of votes in the legislature, people are giving these old school civil rights speeches and tugging at the heartstrings and trying to appeal to the morality of people and the marching and all those things, and none of those things are actually effective in stopping legislation from happening. The only thing that's effective in doing that is voting and putting people in place. But a lot of people don't pay attention to the representatives and the senators when they get voted in.
It's the marches and the protests. They're basically, in my mind, I liken them to your wedding day. Like, people spend so much time preparing and planning for the wedding ceremony. They spend ridiculous amounts of money. It costs they just spend so much money on it, planning for it, preparing for it. Lasts about 20 minutes, the whole ceremony. And after it's done, you got pictures that you can show people and say, we did this, but there's no return on that investment. And actually, the only thing that's accomplished is something that could have been done between you, an officiant, and a witness.
Wow.
And it wouldn't have cost anything.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the purpose is a show, right? It's a show. The wedding ceremony is not for the people. It's not for the people getting married. It's for the people who come to see it.
Spectators.
It's for the spectators.
Right.
I liken that with these protests. It's a good show. It gets people involved. They get excited for a minute. You get to see some people come and talk and get all revved up and excited, and you go home.
Right.
And that's the extent of it.
Right.
The work still has to be done. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are actually putting in the work. I know them. They are.
Yes.
Yes. So I know that there are people who wake up every day with community on the mind and who do the work.
Absolutely.
And who go down to the Capitol who do the work.
Absolutely.
I know those people.
Absolutely.
Those are the people you find at these marches, though. You very rarely see them at the march. The people at the march are the people who are just, hell raisers.
Right.
They want you to get riled up, and there is a place for that in revolution. I'm not saying it isn't.
Right.
But there has to be a day after. There has to be a follow-up. There has to be a plan. If there is a plan and it's strategic, the march is probably not even on the paper. The
Right.
march is extra.
Right.
The march is like putting yum sauce on your food. That's what the march is. The march is actually not the food. It's the yum sauce.
The yum sauce. What's yum sauce?
I don't know, baby, but how you gonna put me on blast like that? I was actually just.
I've heard people say yum yum sauce before, but I've never.
It's kind of like comeback sauce.
Okay, I got you.
So I was at an event. They had some sushi and they had some yum yum sauce, so it's fresh on the brain.
It must go on top of the sushi. Then I don't think I don't think yum yum sauce has ever been uttered inside of our household.
It probably hasn't.
Okay.
It's not something we do.
Yum yum sauce then. Yum sauce it is. We can talk about that. But I mean, yeah,
protesting is yum yum sauce.
We do know a lot of the people here that, organize in the city of Jackson and organize in the state of Mississippi. But, one of the things that I know is not happening is, we're not really engaging younger people in the process, in the political process. A lot of young people are really cynical about politicians because they see a lot of the hoopla and they see a lot of the bullshit that goes on at city council meetings. They see the supervisors meetings and they see people fighting back and forth, and they're not really engaged anymore. And the only way we're going to be able to stop things like House Bill 1020 or Senate Bill 2089 is by having people in there. There's a huge there's a huge advantage for the Republicans in our legislature. I think on the Senate side it's 36-16, and on the Senate side it's 70 something to 40 something. I'm not sure about the exact numbers on the House side, but they can pass bills, unopposed. Basically, they can pass whatever they want to pass because they have the numbers right off the bat, and that's because we're not sending people with our agendas into that legislature.
Do we know what our agenda is? There's such a huge gap between the Capitol and the black voters that it's just remarkable to me. I have become disheartened over the whole voting process in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I've become a little normal. I mean, the marching has become normalized and it's desensitized me to it over the years. I can admit that. I can absolutely admit it.
And it's fair.
The last march I felt compelled to go to was Trayvon. And after Trayvon, we started the Jackson Black Pages. So there was something. If there is an action that happens after
an action item,
I can deal with that. But just getting in the streets to take pictures and say I was there, and because I think that's kind of what it boils down to today. I recently, like last year, went to an abortion rally and I was traumatized by it. So I'm not even sure that I would even do that again. I'm not discouraging people. I'm speaking my truth. You do what works for you. But I think that we need to make sure that if there's going to be a broadcast of disdain or disagreement with how we're being treated, then there needs to be a follow-up action. There needs to be an incentive program. There needs to be a strategic plan in place that you can actually verbalize and tell people, okay, today we going to march. Tomorrow we're doing this. Tomorrow, the next day we're doing this. The next day we're doing that. And take me through the year. I want to know what we're doing.
Yeah, it's got to be a plan.
I'm not interested in just showing up. My time is valuable and I don't waste it. So I'm not interested in just being in a place because that's where people are.
Yeah,
that's usually how you end up in junk. So I taught myself not to do that.
Yeah, and I can say, and you're right. After the Trayvon Martin incident happened, we had an action item. We got together and we discussed it, and we felt like at the time, as we sat down with our entire board, that economic empowerment was one of the ways that we could combat what was going on at the time, and that's how the Jackson Black Business Expo, that's how the Jackson Black Pages got started, because we felt that there needed to be an actionable item to go along with the protest.
Yeah, it wasn't like we just got together and said, it's a whole lot of black businesses, let's do a pop-up shop expo.
Right.
No, it wasn't about that. It was about actually figuring out how to prevent the issues that led to Trayvon Martin's being murdered.
Right.
And what can we do as a community to gather together to build each other up and to prevent this from happening again? There's an action item. So every time you come to a Jackson Black Pages or Mississippi Black Pages Expo, understand that there is more happening there than just shopping. Like that's it. That's the draw. But there's more happening there. There's a bigger statement being made.
Circulating the black dollar in our community is important. It's one of the strongest and one of the, quickest things that we can do to empower our community against these kind of things. But, if you're listening to us, and again, if you're not in Mississippi, and we got a lot of people that listen to us outside of the state, if you're listening to us, just pay attention to what's happening. If you are anywhere in the South, this is not something that can just happen in Mississippi. There's a saying that goes, so goes Mississippi, so goes the rest of the world. So, if you are someplace right now, especially if you are in a city that has a very large black population, Jackson incidentally has the largest black population of any city in the country. But if you're in any city, especially a southern city that has a very high population of black folk and black voters, it's possible that this can happen. We've seen it happening in Georgia with them trying to change the voting laws because, you're starting to see an uprising and you're starting to see an uptick in the number of black people who are going out to vote and, voting, black politicians, black elected officials into office. So, follow us on social media. Keep your eyes on our pages. House Bill 1020 and Senate Bill 2889. There's a fight ongoing right now in the state of Mississippi. So, I thought it was very prudent that we talk about that. Of course, these are conversations that happen inside of our home. So, we talk about a lot of stuff, and this is something that's very pertinent to us because we've got a lot of people that we know that are in this fight. And we're concerned about this fight because we're concerned about, we're just as concerned about what's happening with our water issues here and our safety issues here. Black folk want to be safe too. Black folk,
Sure.
want clean water. So, the condescendingly offensive notion, from others that because we are opposing these bills that we don't want to be safe and we don't want clean drinking water is just ridiculous. But there should be a meeting of the minds. The citizens should have a voice. Our elected officials should be able to have a voice. Our voting power should not be taken away from us. And that's exactly what's happening right now in the state of Mississippi right now, in our Mississippi legislature, happening right now in Jackson, Mississippi as we speak. So keep your eyes on that, man, and keep posting it. And, stay in touch with Black with No Chaser as well, because they're doing some pieces on their own about what's happening in Mississippi on that note. So, moving forward, a lot of good things happening. The Super Bowl was this past Sunday. The Chiefs and the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. And I think, you and I were talking about how the Super Bowl jumped up on us this year and came up on us without us even really realizing it. And we were talking about there was a time when we would have, been on our way to a Super Bowl party. And actually, we would have been going to maybe a few football parties during the regular season. That's kind of how we started out doing things, and then kind of look up and just kind of scheduling some things, and people were having to remind me that the Super Bowl was happening. And I've completely, I won't say I've detached from it, but I have not been keeping up with the dates of the games. I can't even remember the last time that I watched the whole game, and I consider myself to be a sports fan. But it's crazy how we kind of evolved and missed some of those things, huh?
Yeah, well, that happened for me a long time ago.
Because you were a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan.
I'm still a diehard Cowboys fan, but
you had a DeMarcus Ware jersey.
Yeah, I had several. I had
Can you
Austin
locate it for $1 million
Miles.
right now? For $1 million.
Can I locate them?
Yes. For $1 million.
That might be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But only because we've moved and I threw away some stuff. I kept them handy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I started becoming a little miffed, I guess for the best word, with my Cowboys some time ago. And because of that, I had to stop posting and talking about the Cowboys.
Because you was getting mad.
And I had no control over it. Like, it's like playing spades for me. I can't do either one of those.
Man, you was getting mad.
I do. I be hot.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no other anti-fans worse than anti-Cowboy fans.
That's like everybody.
Yeah. Everybody really. So I had to always be on guard during the football season. It was too much. I was like jilted girlfriend to the Cowboys, but I still had to protect them and support them and hold them down and talk my talk, And so I just stopped watching. I at one point I was watching the highlights, and that was getting me over. But I realized that I wasn't necessarily a football fan as much as I was a Cowboys fan. And because you watch or you're a fan of one team, you really have to watch all the games because they all tie in together. So I was watching football because I was a Cowboys fan. So when I became upset with the Cowboys, and mostly Jerry Jones, who's still there, and a lot of Tony Romo, because of that, I stopped watching and then detached from it. So then I started going to Super Bowl. By this time, we together. So now I'm going to Super Bowl parties. Still able to keep up because I was still kind of knowing who was doing what and everything. And we were throwing a couple of parties. And then it became, we should throw it just because people are used to coming. Yeah. So, yeah, now, though, I don't recall the last time I watched a highlight. I don't recall the last. I mean, why? Because I could just follow all my Facebook friends. Well, not all, but a good number of them are Cowboys fans. And they were selected based on that, actually. So I get all the news I need to have about the Cowboys. And I don't know if I care about anything else after that.
I mean, well, I grew up a Cowboys fan and a Saints fan. I like the
How?
Team because I liked the teams that were in close proximity.
See, this is right here is what I'm talking about. How you gonna be a Cowboys fan and a Saints fan?
Because I'm a football fan more so than a fan.
Don't
of a team,
throw the Cowboys in there. Just say you a Saints fan.
Well,
don't
say
the Cowboys.
Here's the thing: when I start having conversations with people, because I've been following the Cowboys since Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett and Drew Pearson.
Oh Lord, my goodness gracious!
Okay,
that far back?
And the Doomsday Defense. That's what. Okay,
my goodness gracious.
I've been following the.
I wasn't even born.
You were born. I know you like to throw that in there, but you were born. Okay, you were alive at this time. Following the Saints from Archie Manning, and Chuck Muncie.
Archie Manning was playing.
Yes, he was the quarterback.
My
of
God,
the Saints. It wasn't. That was in your lifetime.
Ooh, Jack.
By the way. I just want you to know.
I wasn't even able to talk.
That's not true either.
I was still mumbling words.
That's not true either. That's not true. I mean, I know you like to think that, but you were walking and talking and in school when Archie Manning was the quarterback.
I mean, kindergarten.
For the Saints. It wasn't even kindergarten.
Go ahead, baby. What's your point?
My point is that, as a football fan, we often went to parties. We often had the fellowship of, being around football fans, and people still do it now. And I see all the parties that happen. We see it every day. The Cowboys, the 49ers even have a group of people. They get together in our city, to watch games.
Who started that?
I don't know.
PJ Perspective.
I don't know. It might have been Preston. Shouts out to
shout
Preston.
out to my brother.
Yeah, PJ Preston Thurman out there.
He is a big 49ers
He's a big 49ers fan. But yeah, there's actually 49ers fans getting together, Dallas fans, Saints fans. But we used to have Super Bowl parties. And we was talking about that. We used to have WrestleMania parties. We used to have Super Bowl parties. We used to watch a little basketball when the finals came in. And we'd have people over. We did all of that. And now all of these things happen every year. And I can't even tell you. I'm not even looking for the date of the Super Bowl.
Well, what do you think happened? Like, I can tell you exactly what happened to me in the NFL.
Okay. And
for me, basketball, I'm still recovering from Kobe's death. So I can't watch basketball. So, and I certainly can't watch the Lakers, and I am a diehard Lakers fan. So that's what happened to me in basketball and football. Do you know what happened to you with those things?
Life.
Just kind of other stuff to do?
Other stuff kind of took precedent in it, and I couldn't follow it because, the TV, when we went to sleep, the TV was on ESPN. You remember that?
I remember waking up to it.
Yes, because I would turn it over the night. So you remember I watched, Sports Center and watched the highlights of the games, watched First Take, watched Mike and Mike.
So that's where I got the highlights from, watching them because they were just on
They were on in the morning, and then suddenly it just stopped. I can't even really recall or really pinpoint the moment when, I just stopped putting it on ESPN every morning. Now I will say this, when I've been on the road and, been either on tour or out on the road or, at a conference, whenever I'm not in town, or even when we go out of town on family vacations, I do turn it on ESPN when we get into the hotel room.
Why?
Because I don't know. It just feels like part of it is, because we're a huge Fire Stick family now. We don't have cable like we used to. So you don't get ESPN. There's not something that I can turn immediately on to ESPN to be able to look at it. Amazon Prime has the Thursday night football games, and then you can kind of go through there and you can kind of see, and I can go on my phone on the NFL network and see the scores. But on the Fire Stick, ESPN is not readily up there like it is on cable.
Yeah.
So I can't really actually turn it on, and listen to it. We'll have to do a whole lot to get that done. But, even before then, I don't know. I think life was just happening. WrestleMania was a thing. And now, I watch WrestleMania the day after it happens. I can't remember.
That's because of the Fire Stick?
Nah. That's just because, when I was going to the gym in the mornings, not watching WrestleMania on the night was something that I could watch while I was working out the next day. I started doing that. But, we used to go to WrestleMania parties. We would have WrestleMania parties. But then when you stopped watching, it became, futile for me to put the thing together because you were not really into what was going on. You wasn't keeping up. Now, luckily, I can now announce and say.
Are you sure you want to announce it?
Yeah, I'm going to announce it because this might help you to stick to it. I have been able to pull her back in a little bit.
Thanks to Roman Reigns.
Yes, the tribal chief. You know what I'm saying? The tribal chief, the head of the table. We the ones, not the twos. The Roman Reigns storyline is going on right now with Roman Reigns and the Usos and Sami Zayn and Paul Heyman. It reeled you back in.
Usos, the name alone is just so powerful.
It is.
It is just so powerful. But yeah, I started back watching wrestling. Raw was always my favorite. So Raw was not difficult, and he brought me back in on the Royal Rumble, which is a good one to come back in on because you get to see everything, and he catch me up on who is everybody real quick, so it was easy to fall back into. But I don't know why I stopped watching wrestling. I think it came on when I was watching other things like. There was this time where I was going through the reality shows.
Oh, man.
And so the nights that wrestling came on was the nights that some of the reality shows that I watched was on. So I think that's what it was. But I don't watch those anymore. Are we saying all of this? Are you regretting or feeling like you're missing something by not having a Super Bowl party today?
No, I'm not at all. I'm really cool with it.
Or having had a Super Bowl party Sunday?
I mean, I think, at the end of the day, nah, because there's a lot that goes into having those Super Bowl parties and the WrestleMania parties. And I don't feel like doing all of that.
Well, ultimately, that's probably why we ended up where we are. Like, oh.
Yeah, it's a lot. We were, we had a lot more energy and a lot more, vigor in those days to, and living the entrepreneurial life, the next day after the Super Bowl and the next day after WrestleMania, we got to sleep in. So, for the most part, now part of that, you were working, at the health department at that time. So it was a little bit different. But, now, we getting on up there, man. We got things to do.
Well, today I don't have a dog in the hunt at all.
I mean,
I don't like either one of these teams.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, shouts out to the Kansas City Chief and the Eagles fans.
But Riri gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said, I hope she don't sing "Lift Me Up" and make everybody cry.
Well, that had to happen because that was in the Black Panther movie. So you knew going in that was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You knew right off the bat that was gonna happen. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, WrestleMania is coming up.
Maybe we'll do a WrestleMania party.
Maybe. It's still a lot.
I mean, even if we don't do it. I don't know if I want to wait till the next day to watch.
I mean, WrestleMania, you got to kind of watch it.
I need the whole.
Now that you are back, and I'm gonna tell you what else too. The commercials and the interludes and all of the stuff in between. Now, because I watch it the next day, I go online and I watch the playback, and there's no commercials in it. There's no interviews.
But the commercials are a huge deal for the Super Bowl.
On WrestleMania, it's a big deal. Super Bowl, it's a big deal. But, like with us watching Raw and SmackDown, watching it the next day, you get to watch it straight through. What's 3 hours on Monday for Raw becomes an hour and a half watching it the next day. And then SmackDown is 2 hours, but if you take out the commercials, it's like really an hour and a couple of minutes.
I can dig that on regular shows, but on WrestleMania and Super Bowl, I want the whole experience.
Yeah, you got to have it. And it's cool.
If I'm going to do it, I want the whole experience.
We might. If you're listening to us, shoot us an inbox, man. Shoot us a DM or put in the comments if you're watching this, man, if you feel like we need to have a WrestleMania party. We'll
not that it's going to influence anything. We just want to hear from you.
It might not. You know what I'm saying? Just let us know. As always, leave the comments in. But at any rate, you know what I'm saying? On to the next thing. I definitely want to talk about this because I think this is a series that we kind of followed as well. Because one of your favorite people, or either ex-favorite people, I don't know how you feel about Tyrese these days.
Oh, what Tyrese do?
The Fast 10. Some people are saying Fast X, but it's Fast 10 because it's the Roman numeral for 10. So it's Fast 10. These are finally we've got to the last two movies in the Fast and Furious series.
They're not stopping at 10?
They're stopping at 11.
That's weird.
Yeah, so they're going to do like a double movie. It's going to be like Infinity War and Endgame. It's going to be Fast 10 and Fast 11, but they're going to be kind of like, they're going to be broken up in two pieces. So I saw the trailer for the movie, and I know a lot of y'all saw the trailer for the movie, and I made this post on Facebook now watching this trailer, and I just feel like at this point they should just go ahead and give everybody superpowers right now in the Fast and Furious series, because now it's just ridiculous.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I saw it, but I didn't listen to it. I'm taking it now from what you're saying that I probably needed some audio, because Ludacris posted it on his Instagram page, and but what is it? What are you saying about Tyrese? What he doing? Does he die?
He's just in the movie. Oh. I would like for his character to die.
Come on, man.
At this point,
come on.
I'm not. I've never been a huge Tyrese fan. I don't even know how he finagled. I mean, he got into this series in the second movie. He was able to stick around.
Maybe he's a good actor.
He's decent.
He better than Luda. He better than Luda. He has more experience than Luda. The man is in Transformers.
You know what? He has been able to attach himself to a couple of series. Like he's not attached to the new series of Transformers that's been happening. So he hasn't been in the last.
But he made it all the way through.
He made it through to the whatever I don't know what it was. If it was the Dark Side of the Moon. Now he wasn't in that one either.
You saw Baby Boy.
And I mean, I saw Baby Boy, but that wasn't a series. That was just one movie. But it is a famous movie, though. People reference that movie all the time. It is a classic movie. So I'll give him that. So he was in Baby Boy, Jody. He was in the Transformers series.
You're not able to separate the real life person from their entertainment.
It's difficult. I mean, the character that he plays in the Fast and Furious series, I think is him. I think that's him.
I don't think it's far-fetched. I don't.
I think
he's kind of I'm going to be honest with you. I love his voice, and I do consider myself still a fan. However, he pissed me off a couple of years ago when he was talking about heavy women. But I think you can't take away from his talent, and I think that he is a pretty good. He ain't the best, but coming from singing to acting, I think he's a pretty good actor.
I mean, he can sing.
He definitely can sing.
I mean, I'll give him that. But I do. I think the whiny, nasally nature of his character in the Fast and Furious, I think that's him. I think he's just playing himself. I think in real life, I think that's how Tyrese would act if he was in a group of people that.
And you would not like him.
Probably not.
If he was around your group of people.
I was finna say they drive cars, but I mean, hell, in the last movie, they was in goddamn outer space in the last movie. So, they went from racing cars to stealing safes. And then in the last one, in Fast 9, they were in space.
Now it's almost like people just kind of watch it because owe some allegiance to Paul. What was his name?
Walker.
Paul Walker. And because it's been around for so many years, like, you got to finish it. You can't just stop watching it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it really has anything to do with the storyline at this point. They watch it for the fast cars and they watch it for the action breaks, and that's it. It's not really, they've gotten so far away from what it used to be.
The Fast and the Furious where The Rock was in it, first of all, where, Dom, Vin Diesel's character, fell down a mountain with boulders all around him, and his car flipped like 20 times and he walked out of the car. Or when him and The Rock hit each other head on in their vehicles and they got out as if someone had just punched them. They got out of their cars. The Rock threw his arm down and he completely split a cast up, and the cast came off of his arm.
How about when they flew from one building to another building?
Ridiculous, yes. In a car. They were 40 stories up. That's when they were in Dubai, I think. They went through the air.
Yeah, they were in Dubai.
They were in Dubai, and they leapt from one building. So I get you're supposed to, like, suspend your, disbelief for a moment because you are watching a movie. But if I'm watching people who are driving cars, there has to be some element. Because there's no one that drives cars that well. The best drivers that exist on the planet do not drive cars like the people in Fast and Furious.
Well, you got to be a pilot / driver / truck, like 18-wheeler driver. Like, you got to have all kind of skills. You can't just be like a race car driver to be able to.
They were street drivers. I mean, they were street racers, basically. That's how Paul Walker ended up, investigating Vin Diesel. Investigating Vin Diesel, and then just decides, I'm just going to turn to a life of crime with these guys.
I'm going to do what y'all doing.
I'm going to do what y'all doing at the end of the day, which is, of course, Vin Diesel, I think, is kind of like the executive producer of this series. And that's pretty much what I figured, a storyline that he would come up with.
Well, I think the movies were better before The Rock came. I don't think they are.
They did get sillier when The Rock came. I'll tell you that.
I don't think they're terrible because of The Rock. I just think that the first couple of Fast and Furiouses were really good. Like, they were actually telling a legitimate type of story.
They were. And then at the end, I think it was crazy.
It became more about the cars and the action than it did the story.
Yeah. There was one point in this trailer where 2 helicopters latch on to the back of Vin Diesel's car. He jumps off or careens off of the highway into the air. And when he does that, that makes the 2 helicopters crash into each other. And then they just fall to the ground and he gets away. And at that point, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. At this point, they should just, there was a scene where Letty, I forget what her name, Michelle Rodriguez, I think it is, and Charlize Theron, they were laying in a laboratory and they were laying on beds. And it was at that moment that I was like, okay, they're finna get them the super soldier serum. Now they finna become Avengers. That's what they're doing. They ended up fighting in the laboratory. I don't know what happens. I haven't seen it. I know that, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, is the villain.
And I can't never see him on anything without thinking Aquaman.
That's it. That's people.
I was like, they got Aquaman in this
People
movie?
are actually, they're commenting and they're saying, I can't see Aquaman as a villain because he's Aquaman now.
He's Aquaman.
But I've also remembered him as, he is Lisa Bonet's ex-husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also the boyfriend of the white chick in the game for a second.
Yeah. He's a funny guy.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. But, we kind of know him as Aquaman now at this point. But he's supposed to be the super.
That's saying a lot.
In this.
Because he's only done one Aquaman movie. But he's been in Justice League. It's only one Aquaman movie.
Okay, yeah, they're doing Aquaman too. Well, I guess they were.
But for him to just appear twice, and now he is Aquaman.
Yeah,
that's
pretty cool. So, let us know in the comments, man, if you guys are going to see Fast 10. If you're looking forward to it, if you're looking forward to the characters, or
are you looking forward to it?
I'm gonna watch it. because it's so ridiculously over the top that the action in it, it entertains me.
I think that's why everybody watches.
You're going to see some cars jumping. You're going to see something happen ridiculous with cars. Did you know actually that they said the budget for this movie was going to be close to what they spent on Infinity War?
Yeah.
They're about to spend a lot of money. And I don't know if it's in the effects that are there. I mean, they're about to go all out.
The money for Infinity War, half of that went to salary.
Well, I'm pretty sure. But just in putting the movie together at this point. So, they went into space in Fast 9, which I thought was going to be the culmination. I thought they were going to end up in space and it was going to be like Star Wars. But they went to space in 9. So in 10, who knows what happens at this point. And then when the last one comes, the finale on Fast 11, I can just imagine what's going to happen. Vin Diesel might actually pick up a car and throw it. And just chunk it across the screen right there at that point. Because it's ridiculous. Why not? Why wouldn't you at that point? Because we've done everything else. These people are indestructible. And then they have a barbecue at the end of the movie. And then it's over with. So shouts out to, if y'all are going to see Fast 10, of course, like I said, leaving comments, man, hit us up, let us know what y'all think about that. But I want to get to this thing. I thought this was interesting. I saw this conversation on social media, and I think we've talked about this before. Beyonce has announced her tour, and social media is in a frenzy because there is a procedure that you have to go through to get your tickets. But we'll get to that in 1 second. I want to get your thoughts on that. But there was this author by the name of Tiffany Montgomery who has recently, come out talking about, the usual every year when Beyonce gets ready to go out on tour, how, Beyonce is the devil and she's satanic and Jay-Z is this and Jay-Z and Beyonce that. And then someone pulled out some receipts from some tweets a couple of years before she says that she got saved, where she went to a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert. And
she said she saw the concert and was really a fan of Jay-Z and Beyonce. And, Black Twitter is undefeated, some of the best investigators that you will ever find. Fast too
on Black Twitter, and fast, and they come with the screenshots, stuff that's been deleted. I don't even know how they get it. It's incredible. Black Twitter is a monster, and they found it. And so now the conversation is, of course, that we've heard a million times before. Can you be saved and be a fan of Beyonce and Jay-Z at the same time? And of course, one of the people that commented was a pastor that we know who said, "I got Rick Ross in my playlist right now when I get ready to work out."
You're not going to say who it was?
I'm not going to say who it was.
I can about guess.
I mean, you can, but we don't have to do that here. But you can already
and that's
guess.
Why I fools with them.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. But at any rate, for someone, we've talked.
Rick Ross.
He said, I got Rick Ross queued up on my workout playlist right now, as a matter of fact. And he's a pastor, ladies and gentlemen. So, as you know,
I'm sorry.
It's coming to loosen this thing in here. The Beyonce and Jay-Z Holy Ghost then took over in here in the studio here. But
ancestors said no to this conversation.
So, your thoughts on the Christians and the saved people listening to the secular music. Can you do both? Some people say you can't do both. They thought Tiffany was trying to do both. She said she got saved in 2015 after those tweets, and now she is officially on board as being against Beyonce and Jay-Z. So, we've talked about, church hurt and you being involved in the church and all that good stuff. So what are your thoughts on that?
There are levels to this thought process, but what I can tell you in response to your question, what do I think about whether or not being saved means that you can't listen to secular music or worldly music? Who determines what's worldly? And who says that all gospel artists are absolutely, not participating in worldly things?
Oh, right. Most definitely.
So what I have to say to that is that's ridiculous, because it is the amount of limitation that you're putting on God by saying that I can only listen to this to be able to see, hear, feel God is ridiculous. Like, God is omnipotent. He can do anything. He can reach anybody. You think that there are times when I can listen to music and be completely, and I'm not gospel music, like your consideration of worldly music, and have a whole spiritual experience.
Right.
So it is really seriously, in my opinion, of the God that I serve, it is really, really insulting to say that God can't move if you listen to a certain kind of music. I think it's frivolous, irresponsible. I hate that people have this idea. It's really elitist, the position that Christians take on the God that they serve. Like, God loves them and only them. He created all of us.
Right.
So how do you get to make that determination? And then, not only if you do feel this way, how do you get up in front of people and then pass your judgment on to them?
Right.
Like, keep it to yourself. You ain't nobody asking you to be out here trying to condemn people in that fashion. I don't like that they continue to liken Beyonce to the devil.
That's crazy.
I don't like that at all. That gets all over me, because there are people out here killing, murdering, robbing, serial killing, taking people's hearts, stomping on them, giving them back to them, taking it again, stomping on them, giving them back to them, leaving them broken people.
Yep.
And you have the nerve to say to Beyonce, because she's recording a certain kind of music, which is actually probably her own personal life experience, you get to determine that she's the devil. How closely do you know the devil? How much time have you spent with the devil? How do you know the devil so well that you can put him off on Beyonce?
All right now.
I don't understand that. That really bothers me. And I'm not even speaking from a Beyonce fan point of view. I'm speaking from my own experience in life as a person who once was a Christian and who is now spiritual and who has a better understanding of life, living, death, and God since I became a non-Christian. So I don't like that whole thing. It bothers me to the points of festivity that I can't even describe or explain.
Girl, you just made my loins tingle. I mean, a tingle deep down
Baby,
in my loins.
You know, that's the thing. That thing gets me now. That thing gets me. I don't like that at all.
That girl said, how well do you know the devil? To be able to say, my goodness gracious, because one would have to be in close proximity of and in close counsel of the devil to be able to tell you what is of the devil.
Right.
How do you know this?
Right.
And you are supposed to be
and
as
Miss Tiffany,
far
how you
from
getting
the...
up here so familiar with Beyonce if you don't listen to her? How you know that her words are sparking all this hatred?
If you
into
stop
people?
listening. If you stop listening.
You got to listen to it to know it. Or else this is just hearsay, which then thusly doesn't mean anything, because hearsay is subjective. So I don't need to hear from you. If you're not listening to her words and coming up with it on your own, then that's a problem. And if you are listening to it telling me not to, then that's a problem. So I don't really think there's anything that Miss Tiffany Montgomery can tell me about Beyonce or her devilishness.
And I'm married to this woman, by the way, so my loins can tingle for her in front of all of y'all, in front of God and the world. My loins are tingling over here because she just put it all so succinctly. So great. I'm impressed. Woo. How well do you know the devil? How well? Listen now, I'm going to tell you, that'll preach now.
That's going to preach.
That'll preach all the way across the board there. Wow. I am speechless.
Baby, it's something else.
It is.
And
it
they
is
keep
crazy.
coming for her. It's almost like you have to wonder, what is it innately within this individual that can pinpoint? I really believe that it goes all the way down to something as simple as envy.
It has to be.
I think
because
that's what it is.
they've got these videos where they're slowing the video down and they're saying, look at her face. You know, her face becomes a demon. Like, what kind of time, ma'am or sir, do you have on your hands to where you are now going in forensically dissecting video of someone performing on the stage, perspiring, jumping around, dancing around, contorting, making faces because they're out there trying to put on the show, and you are trying to say that, you know, I stopped the frame here at this point in the video, and you can see that her face contorts into the devil and these lyrics and this and this and this. Like, man, y'all could really be using your time for something a lot more valuable. There's a lot that we need in our community right now. There's a lot that we need. We don't need it from them,
because even those people who are slowing down the pictures and going through photos and videos to find what the devil in her. Let me tell you something about them people. How you know what the devil look like? How do you know? You have an image in your head of the devil based on the devil telling you what the devil look like. Let me say that again.
Trying to get this thing
the
put on
devil telling you what the devil look like. You don't know what the devil look like. You know what the devil told you he looked like. Why would the devil tell you what he looked like and then try to operate under darkness and without you knowing who he is? Would you tell somebody you trying to hide from what you look like? So when you going out here trying to figure out or pinpoint these moments where Beyonce looks like the devil, I have to question how you so familiar with what he looks like. How do you know what the devil looks like? And if you are looking for that, you can see whatever you want to see. All you got to do is tell yourself it's there. If you want to see the devil, she gonna be the devil. That's the problem. I saw one video where they were showing Jay-Z and there's a flicker in his eye. The indication or the intimation was that he's the devil. First of all, pick one. It's one devil and maybe a devil's wife or a devil's husband. Which one the devil?
The devil's jumping bodies now. That's what he's doing.
They just passing the devil around. Okay, so when I saw it, first, the flicker looks like somebody walked by a camera. It's just that simple, okay? Then secondly,
that's probably what it was.
I was like, okay, let's just say that this is a flicker of some sort of supernatural, spiritual way. It's white. The light is white. Why would you assume it's devilish? That speaks to your own character. That speaks to who you are. And it speaks to who Tiffany is. I have an issue with that. You showing your own colors, baby. Your slip hanging. We see who you are. Don't go for, and again, I am not this beehive, all rights to Beyonce person. I love Beyonce for what she has accomplished, and I think she is on her shiznick. I do, and I represent
she's on top
that,
of it.
and I respect that because she's a woman and she's making it happen.
No doubt,
and she's doing it better than most men.
No doubt.
So I don't have no problem having.
Is she doing it better than Jay-Z?
Yeah, she is right now. She got 32 Grammys.
This is a first, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here on According to Kazandqueen. One of the number one Jay-Z stans has admitted that Beyonce is out here doing it better than Sean Carter at the moment.
At the moment.
What does he have to do?
He has to surpass her at least. But, what are those odds? What's so hard about that? The person, in order for you to be the best in the world, you gotta beat your wife.
That's tough,
man.
That's tough. But I know how that is though, because my wife is fantastic. I am going to probably schlong her down later.
You going back to that? You just gonna stay right there?
I'm saying because you done turned me on over here, girl. Talking that talk. Like
baby, you can't come to me now. This is something I'm gonna talk about.
I know.
Now. You know
you're
that.
Gonna talk about. What real quick. Before we get out of here, because I know you can get riled up on
I'm riled up.
What do you think about the process? And I thought it was genius because, she runs a very tight ship, but the process of folks getting these Beyonce tickets this time.
Okay. Now here we go with the really not a part of the Beehive. I'm Beehive adjacent. Understand?
Beehive adjacent.
I'm not paying $1,000 to see Beyonce do anything. The only way I pay $1,000 is if Beyonce came in here and sat next to me and sang "Dangerously in Love" to me about me. That's the only reason. That's the only way. $1,000. I pay more than $1,000 if she do that. 5 tops. But to go to a concert and be one in a sold out arena, to be one person that I might not even catch her eye glimpse, ain't no way. There's absolutely no way. I mean. But I'm not knocking you, sis. Do your thing. If you can do it and you can afford to do it, do it. But there are so many other things I could spend ticket money on than to see Beyonce. So many. If I get to a point in my life where that's like spending $1 for some noodles, I probably would. But it ain't right now. So, no, I'm not doing it. And the process of her, you have to get on the wait list and then you got to get approved and then all that.
That's a lot.
I mean,
they're trying to stop the scalpers from, and the ticket websites from getting the
It's
tickets.
not distracting anybody who wants to go see her, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
If you get distracted by that, then you need to save your money. If you can't do it, you can't afford it.
I'll just
so
say this,
put your money in your pocket and set it aside for the next tour she do.
And you know that you can afford it before you get the tickets. There's some people who can't afford it, and you know what we mean by being able to afford it. All right,
it's extra. You ain't taking away from your bill money.
Extra.
It's extra. Like you just got this money over to the side that you was gonna go.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But we're
out of town with.
Let me say this: we're Kazandqueen are not advocating what you do with your money. We ain't counting your pockets. If you want to spend it, if you want to spend your rent money on it, go right ahead. You got to deal with the consequences.
Do you?
Some people do. They get real.
That's not smart.
Yeah, you
shouldn't do that.
They get real ticky-tacky now when, they feel like people counting their pockets. So, some people just out of spite.
I ain't counting your pockets. I'm counting your...
Some people out of spite finna spend their rent money.
I'm counting your mental capacity, if anything.
Of course, common sense.
Because you got to live after the concert. And now, true enough, and now if this is a one-time experience and you got to go see Beyonce, I can give you a little pass on that. But I'm going to tell you that that's just in your mind, because it's a lot of us who would like to see her that just ain't finna spend that money on her.
Yeah, we just can't.
I'm not spending that money on anybody, though. So I don't know if I like anybody that much to spend that much money on. And Beyonce is probably up there because I know she give a good show. And I want to experience one of her shows. But I'm not until she gets to a casino and she's singing. She about 65 singing at a casino. That's the only way I'm going to see Beyonce.
That's going to be tough.
Now, Jay-Z is a different story. That's a different story. I'm not going to pay $1,000 to see Jay-Z, but I would take
but if it's at the point where, if we got it, we'll spend it.
If I had it. Yeah. If I had it, absolutely.
The $1,000 had to be like $1, and then we can say boom. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're frugal.
Are we frugal, or are we just not in a position where we could do it? Because I don't consider myself frugal. If I want it, I'm going to buy it. But
yeah. Well, that's the thing that we clash on quite often. Because that's not frugal. But, we are. So, the frugalness has to take precedent in the Franklin household, when it's time. Common sense has to take precedent.
We come from,
because we could get them. We could get 2 Beyonce tickets, and we could fly there, and we could go see it. Now,
I think I have
what happens when we get back. I'm not exactly sure, but we could do it.
We'll starve and maybe get put out. But I have a problem with the idea of these one moment in time things costing so much,
Yeah, but who knows how many times Beyonce is going to go on tour after this, because I don't see her doing this for a long time.
It gets more and more expensive though.
It does.
And now she done broke the record for Grammys, so y'all gonna be paying $3,000 if she do this kind of tour again.
We're in a post COVID world, so if eggs are up to $5, $6, $7, a Beyonce ticket is finna be
inflation.
A lot more. It's just inflation, man. The world is going to be different after COVID, all the way across the board for everything. All the prices have gone up everywhere. So, this is just the world people got to recoup for the 2 years where there was absolutely no money being made.
Got to recoup?
No, I'm talking about people recouping. Businesses recouping when I'm talking about everything being more expensive now. Concerts are more expensive now because the promoters are having to spend more money, because the arenas are having to charge more money for you to be able to get in, because we're in a post-COVID world. So, of course, if the arena costs more to get and it costs more for the promoter to get it and put it together, of course, the ticket to see Beyonce or Jay-Z or whoever is going to be much more.
Bottom line, if y'all want to go see B do her thing, go see B do her thing.
There you go.
As for me and mine, we gonna take a pass, and we are gonna live vicariously through your videos and she probably ain't gonna let you get no videos, but we'll live vicariously through your posts. Yeah. That seems to do me just fine.
There you go. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. This is, of course, episode 26. This is season 2 of According to Kaz and Queen. And shouts out again to our new partners at Black with No Chaser. You can check us out now on Black with No Chaser Radio every week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Make sure that you download the app and you can hear us live. But of course, you can check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to tune in on the premieres every week and leave your comments or your questions. We'll also be on Spotify. We'll also be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, all of those places as well. So make sure you just stick with us, man. We're going to keep this thing rolling, and we're going to come back to you next time with more conversations. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the comfort of our own home, in the privacy of our own home, that we bring to you guys. Sometimes laugh, make you think, be introspective, and all of that good stuff, man. All right, peace out.
And as always, I'm Kaz.
Oh yeah, I'm Kaz. There it is. Now, we'll holler at you guys next time. Bye.